Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you're in. Kevin Coyne, we're back to the VO Weekly, the Venture Outfitter Weekly. This is a program by TechCrunch where we're going to be talking through every week. What we're really focused on is hearing from entrepreneurs that are driven by vision and values for making the world a better place, and the community, our whole community around that, to support each other through what's going on. And I'm real excited today because we have two special ventures. I'll go into more details in a little bit about what's happening, but real excited to have this. International pioneers making the world a better place. Let me just get a little bit of house cleaning taken care of as well. Welcome to the Venture Outfitter. The whole idea behind the Venture Outfitter is how can we organize together to take on these intractable issues around the world? You know, if you've seen, one of the favorite speeches that I give is all the world's problems have already been solved. It's just a matter of connecting the entrepreneur to the solution to the market with a problem. And we've got some great examples of that today. I want to just remind you from one of our sponsors, we're going to start having, we'll be advertising a lot more sponsors, but again, DualWorks is the co-working place. Linda Blackman, who is Venture Force 17, she was in one of our Venture Force cohorts years ago. Her and her team bought out the TechCrunch co-working space. They're now hosting us as well, and we're physically here right in the middle of Austin at 183 360 Mopac. Want to make sure that you know about this place. And on the 26th, they're going to have a free co-working day. And I'm also going to give a free seminar about restarting your business. That free seminar will be from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock here. I have a number of slots that are available. If I know that you're going to be here beforehand, I'll make sure that we tailor to the needs of your startup. And it will be here at DualWorks. So thank you to DualWorks for being a sponsor. If you're outside of the country and you have special needs as a point of presence, DualWorks does a lot of special deals for entrepreneurs that are outside of the country to make it easier for you to have that point of presence in Austin. And so ask us more if you have questions about that. Hey, so next week, you guys are getting a little bit of a preview. We're going to be launching our Texas-Hungarian Venture Bridge. And we'll tell you more about that next week, but it's going to start, the programming is going to start at Texas time, 9:30 in the morning and run all the way to 12 noon. The part that will really be more US side is going to start from 11 to 12. So this normal period of time will be more focused around the US side of the conversation. And we're going to start the Hungarian part of the conversation at 9:30. If you have any questions, you can just send them on to me or to the team, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. But I'm real excited about this. Hungarian government has just funded this bridge. I will be physically in Budapest the last week of November, and so we'll hear a lot more about that. There'll be other things that are being communicated about what's going on there. So excited about that. Coming soon, coming next week. In today's newsletter that is just about to go out, we're going to be doing a call for mentors and a call for country managers. Now, we already have a group of mentors that are attached to TechCrunch because we're now post-COVID. We're wanting to re-engender a lot more interactions about that. And TechCrunch doesn't want to have like a long list of mentors. We want to have mentors that are serious. I don't like the drive-by mentor relationships that we see in some programs. I really think that it's important to be building relationships. TechCrunch is built, the TechCrunch community is built around relationships. And so the whole idea here is we'll be making that call. If you're not on the newsletter list and you want to make sure you hop onto it really quick, go right now, because this email is just about to go out. Go to techcrunch.com/connect, techcrunch.com/connect, and you can get onto the email list. If you suspect that you're not on the list, make sure that you get on the list, because we have so many things happening these days that it's hard for us to publish it all without just using the newsletter. So that's what we're going to do a lot more of. And so I'm excited about that. Next thing, if you're doing things in the solar, electric vehicle or related industries, obviously with the Biden administration's Build Back Better program about what's happening, a lot of what's happening is there's a lot of reshoring of manufacturing capability to the United States. And in our interpretation, the thing that I've seen messaged in certain communities around the government is there's a stepping away from adversarial type of relationships. Now, the countries that we're mainly working in have been are lined up with where the Biden administration is going. So I know that right now I see Mexico, Italy aligned with that. In both cases, those relationships, we are already realigning different trade relationships. I already have like Hungarian manufacturers responding to some of the building needs of some of the buyers that we have here in the States. Really what happened was a supply chain company got built out of Tech Ranch, like using some of our network. And now we have more than, like the last time that I looked, there was more than 205 requests for quotes for people that are in that supply chain. Obviously, we're organizing around the USMCA as the primary thing that is helping US and Mexico manufacturers line up around that. But that list is available even farther. And so feel free to, if you think that you have connections in supply chain that might take advantage of this, please let us know. We'll make sure that you're on the list so you can actually reach out and respond to that. And we're going to have
we're building solar back up.
Yeah, so building solar back up in the US, solar, electric vehicles, and other things along those lines. So lots of different things happening. Exactly. The next thing I'll mention really quick is the venture outfitter. So one of the things that's happening is we really are starting to spend a lot more time on the venture outfitter network. You're always going to have a place. Those of you all that know me and my personal commitment to entrepreneurs long term, I always want to have a place that entrepreneurs could plug into this program as well as our core community. And so if you're out there and don't have any money, but you still want to leverage the community, that is available to you. We are going to be advertising and promoting a lot more our venture outfitter network. This is available at $99 a month or $990 per year. It gives you special offers from vendors. Like a lot of times people say, hey, that program that you have with Amazon Web Services, as an example, we Tech Ranch have a responsibility to organizations like Amazon to make sure that we review and prepare your company before we actually open up the spigots to their type of programming. And so there's a cost associated with us doing that. By getting involved in the Venture Outfitter Network, that's the first stage for being able to take advantage of that. Yesterday, we hosted a large corporation that was doing some innovation work, and like to have our priority listing on that innovation list when they're shopping as in looking for acquisitions. Again, we need to be able to have reviewed your company to really be able to share that information. That's part of what this program is about, as well as our Venture Essentials program. If you have questions, just drop us a note. We'll tell you more. But you're going to see a lot more promotions coming about that very soon. So why are we really here? We're not here about all that other stuff that I was just talking about. Those are just essential things to make the business run. Part of what I'm real excited about is we have two excellent examples today of international pioneers taking on the world, making it a better place. Both these companies that are represented, both the entrepreneurs that are going to be talking about their companies today, were in our international bridges in 2019. In 2019, just as a quick review, we had international bridges with Mexico, funded by the federal government of Mexico, with Italy, funded by the national government of Italy, and then with Russia, funded by the Eurasia Foundation. A real exciting work. Obviously, 2020, we were supposed to have more than double the bridges, and then all of a sudden, COVID-19 happened, and it slowed us down. But what's really cool about about the entrepreneurs we're going to hear from is they've been continuing to build their businesses despite the limitations of the COVID economy. And I'm excited to see that. So, 2020 really put a damper on stuff. 2021 has been getting started again, but I'm really happy to say that the two companies that are going to be joining us. I'll go ahead and introduce you a little bit to them. We're going to hear from Carlos Bernal of Quito Trace, which is based out of Mexico, through the international bridge, came to the United States. And then he's going to tell us the story about what he's been doing in Italy. And we'll hear from him in just a second. And then as well, we're going to hear from Alessio Capitanelli. Hopefully I didn't mispronounce his last name too bad, who actually has been in the Italian bridge, who came to the US as part of that. We're going to get an update from him. So really, the thing that I'm going to do is I'll get out of the way. I want to hear from these guys because they've been doing really cool work on what's happening today. Or actually over the last little bit. Why don't I do this? I think that we have Carlos queued up to start, and then we'll hear from Alessio a second. And then I know, well, I've asked each one of them to prepare just a little bit of information about what's going on. So we'll hear from a little bit, then we'll hear from Alessio a little bit, then we'll actually ask them questions back and forth and see how we can be a support of the work that they're already doing. So with that, Carlos, why don't you take it over?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, let me try to share my screen so I can, I prepared a really small presentation here. Let me just find it. Can you all see it?
Yes, we can.
I'm using a new software and I wasn't able to export this to PowerPoint. So I'm gonna show it as PDF. Okay, my name is Carlos Bernal. I'm from Mexico, and my company name is Edo Innova. And what we do is basically we created a technology. Oh, wait a minute.
That's interesting. So things have been updated so much that I didn't even know that that they'd actually changed the name. So
Well, Edo Innova is the name of the company. Quito Trace is the name of the product.
Got it.
So it's pretty much the same. Let me see. Okay. Well, this is what we do. We built a technology that actually two technologies based on the same premise. And what we do is we build a technology that measures different analytes in urine. So we basically specialize in urine, and we can now measure glucose, ketones, albumin, cholesterol. We can detect infections, and we can measure several proteins. We're working towards that right now. What you can see on the right side of your screen is the first prototype that we built back in 2016 or 15. That was a prototype that was placed outside of the toilet, and that was already able to measure glucose. On the other hand, on the other left side, we have a prototype that is the newest prototype, is the one we're launching to market as we speak. And it's a prototype that measures urine strips. So we basically have two different products based on the same technology, and we're working on these two products right now. Well, our technology, one of the main advantages is that it connects directly to the phone. So this is exactly where the magic happens. Like, our devices communicate with your phone, and we have a platform where we can do a lot of things with that information that is coming from your urine, and that is telling us a lot of things about what's happening with your body. For example, one of the product that we're launching right now, it's a product for diabetes or for people that is trying to lose weight. We're following a protocol that is approved by the American Nutrition Association, and that is based on ketogenic diets. That's why the product is called Keto Trace. And we basically are measuring albumin. We're measuring ketones and glucose in urine, and using that in our platform, we're helping diabetics to manage their disease, and we're helping people that is trying to lose weight to achieve that using ketogenic diets. We're following one of the companies that we're following very, very close is called Virta Health. Virta Health has already published a 2-year study of what they're doing. They're following the same protocol that we're using, the protocol of the American Nutrition Association. And they are right now able to eliminate 60% of their diabetes patient medications. And 90% of their patients already eliminated their total use of insulin. And this is just following a nutritional approach. How are we different? Well, we're using the information that is coming from your urine to track what's happening with your metabolism and help you adapt with their platform. Right now, we're working with 2 corporate partners. One of them is Christos Health. They're based, it's a company based for San Antonio, but right here in Mexico, right now we're doing trials with them for our portable device. And we're integrating into their site, glucoside. What's interesting about Christos is they already have like 200,000 diabetic patients. And also we're working with Icor. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Palmiro. Icor is a company from Brescia in Italy, and they manufacture high-end toilets, and they have a patented antibacterial and antiviral material. So these are toilets that are made out of an antibacterial material. So we're working right now, we're developing a product to integrate with their Dreams line of toilets. We're doing that as we speak. Our biggest challenges right now is we're doing testing with the hospital. And also we're building prototypes for Aerocorp right now. After that, we're gonna do clinical tests with the hospital here in Mexico. And we're trying to transfer our technology to a mass manufacturing facility. Then we are aiming to get CE mark for Aerocorp product and COFEPRIS in Mexico for the product we're working with Christos Muguerza. One of our goals right now is we're trying to raise a seed round of investment to be able to accomplish that, or to be able to accelerate that we're doing. This is what we're doing. I know we have a little bit of time here, so if you all have questions, I'm here happy to answer all your questions.
Yeah, thank you. That Carlos, it's exciting to see what's happened. So tell just like really quick, this will be our bridge to our other entrepreneur as well. What is it that you guys have done? You and Nancy's the CEO, and Carlos is the chief technology officer, right, of the organization. And they happen to be a couple as well, married, but you just went to Italy. What was it all about? What was all the hubbub about that you were posting about and stuff like that? Tell us real quick.
Well, we were invited by Aerocorp to visit Italy. They were presenting their new product, their new line of products that is now gonna be powered by our technology. So it's gonna be a product it's gonna be a very beautiful toilet because it's designed by this Italian architect, and then it's made of this antibacterial material that is at the same time very flexible to use. So we have a lot of freedom to actually integrate our full technology into these toilets. And we also have a lot of space inside. So we were starting with glucose. Now we just added cholesterol, and we're gonna keep on adding new measurements. So that is gonna help us to grow very fast with that.
Got it. So let me ask you, I'm going to push you just a little bit because you're holding back, and I know you're holding back because I know you. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? what's the so what of having, okay, this product out of Chihuahua, Mexico is now integrated with this Italian toilet. What do I care? Why does it matter? Same, get to the value statement about what's really pushed. Why should we care as humans?
Well, as humans, first of all, diabetes is the most expensive disease we're living. One of every $9 the world spends in healthcare goes to diabetes. That's one. Another one is there are 3,000 different metabolites that we can measure in our urine, and that's a lot of information that we're trying down the toilet. So we can do a lot with that information on regards to help people achieve better health or live longer or live healthier.
Yeah, so I'll push. I'll push from my perspective as well. So as an example, my grandfather, my mother's father, had diabetes, and it took his life, right? And dealing with insulin, dealing with all the different things around that. By having something that it's actually constantly monitoring. One of the problems in taking insulin is a lot of times is if the individual ends up having a little bit of a problem, then they forget to take their meds, right? It happened to my grandfather a bunch of times. And there's no way for us as caretakers of like my grandfather to really know what's going on until it's too late. And so, we're taking him to the hospital. And so what I imagine is implied by what Carlos is talking about with the integration that's happening between, Mexico and Italy, these two products that are happening is we could have a daily view of what's going on. And especially in my grandfather's case, this would have given him a chance. So instead of having the big crashes that took him to the hospital, to just recognize, oh wait, something's out of order. The second thing is imagine as well that with instead of having that once a year checkup for what's going on in your body, being able to actually have it every day. I mean, could you imagine that instead of waking up one day and having stage 4 cancer, you actually have something that's in the toilet that actually just recognizes at stage 1. Hey, maybe you should go see and get the XYZ type of more formalized test. So I think that's a beautiful thing, Carlos, and I'm really proud of what you guys have done, and love to actually have you post some more of the videos that you shared. What we'll do though is we're going to hop over to Italy now. I think Alessio is still in. Actually, the last time we talked, you were in Genoa, Italy. Is that correct?
Oh, I'm still here.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm glad that you fared well through the COVID-19. I was worried about all of your entrepreneurs out there, especially with the kind of the issues that happened right at the beginning of COVID. Tell us all about Teseo.
Sure, with pleasure. So, show my screen also. Okay, can you see this?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Thank you. So first of all, thank you for inviting me today. That's been really a long time. I haven't been at the Venture Theater meeting. So I'm really happy to be here also to see a lot of new faces. So thank you very much. So for whoever doesn't know us yet, we are a company from Genoa in Italy, and we develop technologies, AI, IoT based, mainly to support older adults and their caregivers. So our mission is to help them live better their best years in their life together. In particular, we do this with our first product, which is Kibi. Kibi is fundamentally a digital assistant to help caregivers and older adults. It helps promote active aging among older adults, but most importantly, it helps caregivers provide more effective, more impactful, more personalized cares, especially in a preventive way. The system is very simple. Fundamentally, we provide caregivers a lot of data through our dashboards, so they have all the actionable insights they need. And this data come from a rather simple IoT infrastructure, which is composed only of a smartwatch and a few environmental devices. At the moment, our business model is mostly B2B. So we are working a lot with elder care facilities, mostly independent living and assisted living. But of course, in the long term, we are also interested in applications at home. So home care, senior living, but more of a B2B2C channel sort of thing. This is just to give you a general idea about what we do normally. Now, about what happened in the last year and a half, as you were saying, of course, COVID happened. It was really hard, but we managed to go through validation. So as you remember, we were starting validation more or less when we returned from the US to Italy. And that's more or less also when COVID started and Italy was impacted a lot, especially at the beginning. So for us, it wasn't really easy to get into elder care facilities, right? But we managed because the simple was, as I said before, very simple to install. So we changed our processes. We allowed elder care facilities to install it themselves. So in summer, when the situation got better, and there was actually a huge need for this sort of solution that became much more popular after COVID, we could eventually start with this sort of validations. So we now have the first feedbacks. This is one of them. Our first user are really impressed by, the possibilities that collecting all this data offers in terms of personalized care, preventive care, especially in assisted living, and also that it's not really complicated to use. So it's really an accessible tool also for the personnel, the nurses, and whoever works in these facilities. So of course, many more things happened. That's not the only pilot we had. We had a few of them. These are the most important. We have some important partnerships that started during the last year. The most important, sadly, I cannot announce today. They're still, under construction, but we are partnering with some big companies right now. And also, there has been a lot of research. This is something that I want to talk about because we have some specific partnerships now regarding research with important hospitals in Italy, both in Genoa and Milan. We also patented, we have a new patent on localization. Localization is a big part of what we do. And now we're able to localize people using a smartwatch without using any other device. So in future, environmental devices will not be needed anymore. And also, we were working with the University of Genoa on this sensorized glove. This is kind of a big deal because this is, to our knowledge, one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest device that is able to monitor all the degrees of freedom of a human hand. So this is important for research, for example, in Parkinson or in other neurological conditions. And, it's really low cost, and we hope that this will have a real impact, especially in research. This is something we work on with them in collaboration. Okay, and this is the last thing. This is also kind of a big news. At the moment, we are trying to turn Kibi from just a digital assistant to more of a platform. So from where we were there that this was kind of our vision since the beginning, and now it's coming to become a reality. So Kibi will become a platform that will be open also to integration with third-party systems. And the traditional wearable configuration that I presented today will be just one part, because helping older adults or helping people in neurological rehabilitation, as we were saying before, is complicated, and you need a lot of solutions to work together seamlessly. And we want Kibi to become, especially the dashboard, this is what has been proven to be very valuable, to become a sort of hub for all these solutions. So the first few applications that we will introduce will be air quality monitoring and also a radar device. So a sensor that is able to monitor people without requiring them to even wear wearable. Exactly. So this is important in some, let's say, for example, in some neurological rehabilitation contexts where people would not wear a wearable. Now you have an alternative. And that's it, I think. So we'll conclude at the moment. Well, if you want to help us, there are two things. One is always the same, and the same also as Carlos. So we are fundraising. So if you know anyone that is interested in our company at our stake, please get in touch. And also, as I said before, we are trying to turn the whole thing into a platform. So if you have any technology that you think can fit, that can help, that can be beneficial to older adults and their caregivers, also, we are interested to hear what you have. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And so one of the things that I thought about doing although since I didn't get to talk to you very much right beforehand,
Uh,
you're already working cross country, right? The last time we were talking, you actually had activities that were happening in Switzerland. Is that correct?
yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to turn off the screen sharing. Okay, perfect. Yeah, we have activities in Switzerland. This is also true right now. Actually, one of the partnerships that we are, so at the moment we're working on a lot of partnerships, especially channel partnerships, and one of them is especially in Switzerland to bring our products to the Swiss market. And also we are planning a pilot there. So soon we will have the first pilot abroad.
Yeah, so the main thing about it is the story that I want to make sure that I keep on presencing across our conversation, because what's happening right now with these early stage firms, both Alessio and Carlos's companies, the thing to be thinking about, back in the old days when I started my first company, actually there's a funny story about that too. Being able to like easily go across country boundaries and then leverage those kind of bridging connections to innovate. That wasn't as in the past. That wasn't a normal thing. Now I joke about it because in my case, my first customer for my first startup, which was based here in Austin, was actually in Guadalajara, Mexico. But that was really unique. That was truly a bizarre kind of thing that didn't happen very much in the past. But what's interesting to see in both your cases, both Carlos and Alessio, it's like you guys are actually getting to take advantage of those international bridges that you're building, as well as ones that you did through Tech Ranch and stuff like that. Would either one of you like to actually say a little bit more about what would make that easier? Like what or why did you look outside of your country? Why, kind of give us a sense of why that was important and how that's what kind of opportunities it's opening up for you guys. Alessio, perhaps say a little bit more about the partnership in Switzerland as an example.
Yeah, sure. Well, of course, the main reason is that international markets are essential today, right? So especially when you have a digital product like us, you always need to build something thinking, okay, this has to work everywhere. It has to bring a real impact everywhere. And I think it's just natural at some point when the company starts to grow up, to start to explore new markets. So especially if those markets, in our case, they're very interesting because on one side, it is true that working in healthcare, there are regulations that change from country to country, but on the other side, there are also opportunities because, for example, there is different way to fund certain kind of activities, certain kind of products. For example, now it's not the case of Switzerland, but our kind of solution, as you know, they are kind of recognized by welfare systems in a lot of European countries, but not in Italy. So it's really interesting to move to these countries and, catch this opportunity.
Excellent. Carlos, what about yourself? Like, why even, why look outside of Mexico? Why Italy? What was so important about that? I mean,
Well, in the specific case of Italy, what was really attractive for us was the material itself. And the material that they patented is called Fullerbad, and it's an antibacterial material. So in our case, bacteria can cause a lot of errors on our measurements because they like glucose, for example, they like ketones, they can even consume ketones, and they can proliferate all over our system. So that material was really special for us. But when we saw the toilet, the design itself, it's beautiful. I mean, I'm gonna share pictures with y'all. It was designed by an architect, and it's like, oh, it's a beautiful machine, and now it has a powerful engine because now it's able to do a lot of things. So that was what we were thinking. But then, and as we started working with them, as we say, we're developing 20 prototypes, and we're gonna start giving donations to hospitals in Italy, in Madagascar, and also in Mexico. and yeah, that's why we're very excited about it.
Excellent. Well, and it's interesting, right? The Italians are known for design, actually also specialized materials, like you're pointing out, and to be able to be an early stage startup company or a scale up company, to be able to reach out across that's a really powerful thing, because it's the essence of being able to drive innovation, right? That's real exciting stuff. Let me ask both of you as well. So one of the reasons that we're doing this type of work, I explained to a lot of people, and this has changed since a lot of the activities that we used to do with the VO network right after you guys left the bridge, right? You left the bridge, or you left Austin, Texas, and went back home. But part of what we're doing with this virtual program is to make sure we're advocates for entrepreneurs like you that are taking on these world challenges and going places. I personally reached out to your governments to say, hey, I want to make sure that we put a spotlight on these type of activities, because most people, it's easy to see how the really large multi-billion-dollar corporation takes advantage of international markets. But the even more interesting conversation is this early stage activity, right? And in enabling what you are up to, but what both of your companies are up to. What kind of requests would you like to make to them? What would you want to put in front of them that actually will help you drive your businesses forward? Create jobs, save lives. Like what's obviously improve the quality of life. What are the things? What are the resources? Whether it's from those governments, here in Texas, back home in Mexico and Italy, or maybe some other group that might be listening in from a standpoint of or watching the video that we record. What would be valuable? Push beyond just the funding conversation.
We're looking for partners for testing our product. We're working with the hospital here in Mexico, and we're probably going to bring a few toilets from Italy to the hospital as well. That's a big hospital system, but we really would like to start testing with a lot of different users, because getting that information is what's gonna help us to improve a product or to take it to a stage where we feel is ready for the market.
Excellent. So more access to more hospital systems that would be interested in exploring this, especially looking at the cost savings as well as the monitoring for diabetics, as an example, right?
That's correct.
Alessio, what about in your case?
Well,
you're
I would
obviously
say
raising funding. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But if I had to ask something to my country, well, all the countries in general, is to really start pushing on digitalization in healthcare, especially in caregiving, because we're still not there. In healthcare, there's something. In caregiving, everything is very much manual. This is something that I noticed personally in some of the pilots that we had in the past year. I think things are going to change. There are some, initiatives that are starting right now in Europe, mainly as part of the recovery plan at post-COVID-19, that I think go in the right direction to fund and promote the use of digital tools in healthcare and especially in caregiving. But there's still a lot to do. So yeah, if I can ask something, I would definitely ask this.
And one of the things that we will be, focused on supporting as well is to help drive the access to markets from that standpoint as well. We've started conversations with our patient care innovation bridge. I want to make sure there's been some developments on this side too. Today's program's not about what's happening at TechCrunch though, but I'll just mention through their patient care innovation bridge, making sure that y'all take advantage of this way. We have had 2 senior care systems in Austin that could benefit from both of your, when I say in Austin, one of them has 30 sites, one of them has 25 sites. They just happen to have people that are based here in Austin that I can see a way of tying things together. I know that I've been seeing a lot of different chat back and forth. If there's questions that anyone else would like to throw into the picture, you can either come on live, or if there's something that you'd like to say. Kim Johnson, you're another healthcare expert. What would you like to ask?
Yeah, Carlos, one of the things that
in terms of the specificity of results is making sure that the sample comes from the right person. Have you investigated any other way to identify, verify the users, that the sample and the data comes from the user in a non-invasive and non-threatening way?
Right now we're using the user's phone to identify because they have to activate it with their phone. We're testing also for hospital. For hospitals, we're testing with bracelets using RFID. But other than that, we haven't, like, just their phones and their bracelets. That's what we're testing right now. But you mean like more advanced means of identification or something?
Not so much advanced, but just I'm thinking for substance use. You and I had a conversation, and in terms of we have a breathalyzer connected to a healthcare thing, and I know that you can adapt your technology to read other methods, but to make sure somebody is not using substance uses, you have to have them identified. So it's really just the simplest way possible to do that. So that's an ongoing discussion that I can follow up with you on.
All right.
Yeah, it may be as simple as if there can be a correlation between the distance between a bracelet and the device. We currently use facial recognition, but I don't want pictures of your analysis, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
In Tech Ranch's venture partner that has the healthcare background, we're actually sharing an office, so sometimes it's a little bit difficult to do Zoom from two different places. But Omar, maybe if we just use this microphone, would you like to say what you actually just brought up in the chat?
Well, yeah, I mean, so basically there is research right now around, AI technology that can actually recognize humans' anal print, and it's based on, again, different biological markers and factors that as, again, we flush every single time, it will, know that that's Omar Zaki, and these are the, current readings of Omar Zaki's stool, right, and sample, and kind of, again, what those health factors are. So, this is exciting stuff because this is one of the first times that you're finding a really at the kind of original source of body health data capture that actually tells a lot about, a person's health and wellness, and is just unobtrusive. We already do this. There's nothing, kind of different about our lifestyle. We don't even have to wear a wearable for it, right? And so this is kind of a beautiful new innovation, I think, that's going to take off. And keep an eye on some of these companies. There's a brand named Toto out there that's doing some interesting stuff. Duke has a big interesting lab based on all of this. And I think, like I said, Teseo and Keto should be talking about future integration already. And since you guys are leveraging Italian, luxury toilets, I think that there's a great model there for senior caregiving and the centers that could be deploying Teseo's technology.
Yeah, that is correct.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carlos.
Yeah, yeah, we should start a conversation. We one of the first goals when we started this project was senior care facilities. So I think we could talk more about it.
Well, and that's one thing I'll point out, especially to keep the thread that we actually had about 6 weeks ago, we had a specific program. This program was dedicated to, how do all these different small companies organize against, a lot of times against, an industry that might block them, right? And I was using the metaphor of the sharks and the whales are hard to get around if you're just this little fish. But if you create a school of piranhas, that is Carlos's company, Alessio's company, some of the companies that like Kim Johnson's company, Omar has several different healthcare startups that he's worked with both in the US as well as in Egypt. When we organize together, we can take this sort of stuff on instead of having, in a larger company, there would be a dedicated person that got a list of hospitals that go through the whole process, right? In this case, we can actually do that together. Represented in our audience today, as an example, we have David Potes, who's doing Ava Health, that's already working with 49 hospitals across Mexico. And part of what I want to make sure that our presence, especially now, right? There has been a bunch of learning that's happened on this side of the venture outfitter, the Tech Ranch Venture Outfitter, about how we start to organize with each other to take that on. About how we, instead of having one dedicated employee that goes and gets the list of all the hospitals, we can knock on the door and coordinate that. That's another thing that we can do together that we couldn't do before. What other questions are there for Alessio and Carlos? Or in Alessio and Carlos, if there's other things that you haven't gotten to talk about yet, this is your time to brag. Any other questions that anyone would like to ask?
Just a question for Alessio. I know that you actually have some blockchain components and other things built in for AI. How do you see, how flexible do you see that structure for your dashboard to integrating, other data to provide, a complete picture from multiple items? In other words, I recall you have a pretty good structure for, user data collection. What challenges or opportunities do you see in terms of integrating other devices or other systems into your dashboard and network?
Well, let's say that the architecture has been thought since the beginning with this sort of use in mind. So technically, I'm not that scared, of course. I think the challenge is to, select the right applications, and at this moment is to know what to focus on, because we're still relatively small. So you need to make choices, right? So the things I've shown you before is because they respond some important needs that we have, collected from our user. For example, air quality, an air quality sensor that provides all sorts of information about temperature and particles, whatever, after COVID has become very important. So having this integrated in a central hub, it's very useful and it's not complicated. Of course, there are different kind of integrations, right? If you integrate something like that, this is very simple. You collect the data, maybe you do some analysis, but it is fairly independent from the main system. So that when you have something like the radar, that's something that interacts with the core system, because this could provide additional information regarding the habits of the person that are being monitored. It can provide additional information. For example, that radar is so precise that you can ideally monitor the breathing pace of a patient from remote, and you can do it through walls. So this is something that is definitely a challenge, but this also depends on the level of integration, and the biggest challenge is human resources at the end.
Understood. So one weird thing we'll do is we'll start wrapping up for today. Part of what I want to make sure I mention to both Alessio and to Carlos, thank you for your participation today. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we put the spotlight on you guys even further in the next newsletter, not the one that comes out today, but the next week's newsletter. We're going to make sure that you have a spotlight on exactly what's happening, updates around your companies, just because I'm really happy to see you guys are actually showing the whole idea about building international bridges. We can actually solve all the world's problems, right? We just need to figure out how to take it to scale. This type of interaction is really, really powerful. And so you're going to be in the spotlight of our next newsletter. Chris Hughes runs that. I want to make sure that you get a chance to take advantage of that. If you didn't get a chance to review the recording from 3 weeks ago, where he did a LinkedIn overview about how to leverage LinkedIn for this, one of the things that's going to be happening among us, the community, is a really aggressive approach in the coming weeks to how we leverage LinkedIn, not just as individuals, which Chris reviewed in that program, and that you can actually have the video for, but how we can actually do this online. I happen to have 12,000 connections on LinkedIn. I want to see how we can just aggressively, just shake them and see what comes out of it, right? To open up these conversations. That's part of what we're here. before I go ahead and go into my closing slides, if anyone else had something that they really wanted to make sure that they got to review, now's the time to do it. I just want to make sure that if sometimes I have someone that says, hey, I got something to tell me at the right at the very last minute, this is the time to say stuff. If there is, this is it. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and hop back into the slides. Okay, I don't see anyone raising their hand, so I'm going to go ahead and hop right back in to the slides. What we'll do is, if you haven't already joined the newsletter list, we are really now getting aggressive about the newsletters that are coming out. Chris Hughes, his business is all about that, about getting the voice out to the people. And I'm really happy with how this is coming out. There will be a newsletter that's going to get kicked off later today that'll be talking about some of the other activities that have been happening. Our call for country managers, our call for mentors. When I say mentor, I mean someone who truly has scar tissue to donate to other entrepreneurs, right? You know, in my case, I can't tell you that I built a $1 billion company, but I'm willing to bet that I have more scar tissue than more entrepreneurs that I ever met, right? And I'd like to donate that to you. That's like a mentor type of relationship. Our mentors, part of what we want to do is, instead of it just being like a one and done type of relationship, part of what we're actually setting up is a longer term set of interactions. That is, we want mentors to become advisors where they're on your cap table and then perhaps other integrated parts of your business. And so part of what we're going to do is we're doing much more quality control on the front end. We're not just making a large mentor list. We want to make sure that we're really doing quality control. We also have subject matter experts. Perhaps the person hasn't been a long-term entrepreneur, but they're a professional in some field that they have to offer, you know, they have that set of skills. We do separate the mentors from the subject matter experts, and we're looking for most subject matter experts. A good example in that is we have a Spanish accountant that works between Spain, Mexico, the United States for dealing with accounting issues around those countries. Since we do so much stuff across those borders, that would be a subject matter expert. And she's had her own business for a long time, but it's a small business. It's not necessarily a startup. Okay, that's a good example of a subject matter expert. And then country managers, part of what we recognize as an example, and this happened because of one of our entrepreneurs, or one of the Austinites that happens to be a professor at the University of Texas, who is advocating for his country, or his home country of Armenia. He said, hey, I know Armenia is really small and we're, over here and kind of hard to get to, and there's a whole history there. But what made it possible for us to start extending the bridge there, even before there was funding for supporting that bridge, was this person who knows the home country, who was advocating for the home country. And, we've had entrepreneurs from 42 different countries. I never thought about it before to have a country manager. This is a volunteer position, but then it can actually lead to business for yourself as well. If you happen to have an idea about that, or if you have a question about a specific country, let us know. And as I can already tell, as an example, we have several countries represented right now. Haiti, Mexico, Italy, obviously, are the ones that jump out just based on who I see in front of me. Obviously, we've had other entrepreneurs from all around the world that we're going to formalize that. Make sure you're on the newsletter list. Just one more reminder, we'll start wrapping up with regards to other pieces, free seminar and free co-work day. If you're planning on coming, you might let me know beforehand. It'll be at 2:00 for the free seminar, and I will tailor it to the entrepreneurs that reach out to me beforehand. That being said, if you show up the last minute, it'll still be valuable. The focus is, how do we really restart and take our companies to the next level, since our economy for many of our businesses is just now waking back up again. Some of you actually never slowed down at all. Some of you are actually having to go through almost like a restart. This would be a little bit more focused on the restart, but even if you are going already, we'll help you figure out how to take it to the next level through the network. So for today, there's a lot of things that I'd love to say. I'm excited to see the progress that's been happening with Carlos's company and with Alessio's company. A lot of things have changed over the last couple of years, and we're going to start getting the message out even more about how we're here to help you build your business, and how the entrepreneurs of this community are organizing together to take on, making the world a better place, leveraging each other through building our networks. Being entrepreneurs driven by values and vision, not just by dollar signs. This is our work. We can impact the world for the better. So let's go change the world for the better together. Thank you for your time today, and excited to see everything, the progress that's happening. We'll talk again soon, and make sure you follow up with us online as well. Okay.